Ladies and gentlemen, I am ecstatic to bring on the very first guest for TalkUSL. I've wanted to bring a USL player on for quite some time, but was waiting for the right moment and, more importantly, the right guest. So without further ado, that person has arrived freshly signed to his first professional contract with Monterey Bay, out of all teams. We both went to the same high school in the friendly town of Pearl River. The man is the Irish-American Ciaran Dalton. Welcome, Ciaran.
Thanks,
Thanks
Vince.
for coming
Appreciate
on.
you, man.
Oh
Yeah,
my
for sure.
gosh,
Yeah.
dude. What a way to start out. After 80 episodes, finally getting a guest on, but your career so far has been impeccable. I'm taking a look prior to obviously signing with Monterey Bay, 4-year starter for Rutgers Scarlet Knights in the Big Ten Conference. You've accumulated over 5,000 minutes of Division One soccer, 61 appearances as well. I mean, obviously, Big Ten. It has also a lot of good universities. You played Division One, UCLA, Ohio State, Penn State, to name a few. 2022 Big Ten All Freshman Team Selection. So even starting as a freshman in your top 5 all time in program history in saves for the Scarlet Knights. So just some really cool stuff. Prior to Rutgers, Ciaran was a part of the New York Red Bulls academy system. Besides soccer, he's also really good at Gaelic football and hurling, but that's probably good for any Irish athlete. There's a little bit of that in them. But obviously, the reason he's here is he's in the USL now. He's signed with Monterey Bay. My brother has seen Ciaran play once before, and he coaches still at Pearl River, old stomping grounds in New York, just north of New York City. And he saw you back in 2021. He was coaching modified at that time point, just kind of stopping the touchline, see what was going on. And then you had seen each other, my brother Giovanni. You've seen him in the alumni games, right? Which was pretty cool. And he was
Yeah.
saying like, "Oh, what's next for you?" He said at the time you were saying you were trying to go MLS, and he mentioned even USL as a possibility. But now you're here. You're in the USL. You just signed your first professional contract. You're still, I'm sure, settling into Monterey Bay. I think the big question is how you feeling.
Yeah. No, I'm feeling great. It's been some up and downs this year, but obviously I'm very, very excited to sign for Monterey and getting settled in here, and I'm loving life so far. So yeah, it's going good.
How did you end up in Monterey Bay out of all places? Because I think I was looking at some other girls. You were on trial with Nashville. Is that correct?
Yeah, it's correct. Yeah, I'll kind of walk you through it. So well, the MLS draft happened, and I was kind of hoping to get drafted, but that didn't end up working out. But fortunately, I got like the invite into some clubs for preseason, so I was kind of trying to figure out where I was going to go for preseason. It was between Nashville, Toronto FC, and Minnesota, and I ended up choosing Nashville. And yeah, I went there for the preseason. Was with the first team the whole time. Like it was going very well. And then unfortunately, at the end, it didn't end up working out. They decided not to offer me a contract. So then, obviously, I had to look elsewhere. So the unfortunate part was that it was so late in preseason. Like I found this out probably around February 10th, which is like pretty deep into preseason for most teams. Like a lot of teams had their keeper signed already. So I was in a tough spot. So I wasn't too overly optimistic. I didn't know if I was going to be able to even get in somewhere to like trial or anything. But fortunately, my agent was able to get me in touch with Monterey, so I came on trial here for a week, and then they ended up offering a contract. So lucky, fortunate, it was able to work out for me.
No, absolutely. And we're fortunate to have you in the USL Championship. Just starting out your journey. I mean, you're 22 at the moment, so still quite young, and there's a lot of horizon out there for you. With Nashville, I mean, you made it to the end. Were there cuts taking place even throughout preseason camp? So you were like really one of the last people to have maybe say not made it?
Yeah, so yeah, some people got cut like at random times throughout preseason, but
Okay.
I was actually the only trialist that was with the first team like the whole time. So I was very confident that I was going to get signed, and then the club ended up like kind of going a different direction. I think they decided to
Okay.
sign a 17-year-old goalkeeper that wasn't there on trial from a different club or something like that. So um, that was the like my positive look on it. It wasn't anything I did wrong. Like they really liked me. I got a lot of positive feedback. I was obviously disappointed that it like I didn't find out till so late, but I mean I got a
Right.
great experience out of it, and I mean I was proud of myself for how I did. I mean the club decided to go a different direction. Obviously, I was very disappointed when I found out, but like there's not much you can really do about that. So I kind of just try to keep optimistic about it, and obviously it ended up working out. So I was very happy about that.
Nonetheless, a great accomplishment to make it as far as you did, and you did leave a good impression, right? So that certainly counts. And then I was looking, just also digging through because when you were playing for New York Red Bulls reserve team in the academy, is it true you made a USL Championship debut back in 2020 when you were just 16 years old?
I did,
I'm going through. I'm like,
yeah.
dude, take a look. So against Hartford Athletic, I was looking. I was like, did he play? And this is back published on October 5th, 2020. A match recap from Red Bull New York Communications. And there you are. You came on as a sub in the 71st minute for Luca Lewis. So you got to play in a USL Championship game before.
Yeah, yeah, I did. Yeah, that year I was with Red Bull 2 a lot, so it was an awesome experience. Like I was a backup for a lot of the season. They signed Luca Lewis, who you just mentioned. They signed him from I think he was on an Italian team, but he was a starter and then I was the backup, but I think it was probably the last game of the season they ended up letting me get some minutes. I was kind of hoping to get a starter too, but I didn't end up getting it, but it was still an awesome experience at such a young age. But yeah, that was very cool.
Start is still looming, obviously, because you came on as a sub, but still, nonetheless, you have already made your USL Championship debut at such a young age. So more accomplishments, which is great. You're an East Coast boy, born and raised in New York, right?
Yeah,
Or were you
born and
born in
raised in
Ireland?
Pearl River. Yep.
Okay, in Pro Over. All
No,
right, so
no, I was
Pro Over
born
native.
here.
Curious to
Yeah.
know, man, what's your initial impression so far of Monterey Bay, both the city, moving out to California. You were just telling me you just beforehand, before we even start recording, that your stuff finally arrived, so you're even still getting settled a couple of weeks in. But nonetheless, what do you think of so far of Monterey Bay, the coast side, and the club as well?
Yeah, it's been very nice, honestly. It's great, especially this time of year, getting such nice weather all the time.
Right.
Like where I'm located, the weather's always around like 70 degrees, so it's perfect training weather. I feel so blessed every day to be able to go to work in such nice weather, such a nice place. But yeah, I finally just got my car here a couple days ago, so I've been kind of checking out the area surrounding. Can't really do much when you don't have a car here yet, but the past
Right.
couple
Yeah.
days I've been able to kind of look around. My girlfriend came to visit as well, so we went to see a couple different neighborhoods around here, and it's super nice. I've loved it so far. So still obviously getting used to being here, but I mean I feel great. It's been awesome. Some very nice golf courses around here too, which is always nice. So yeah, no, I've been loving life so far.
What about the club? What about the facilities? What about Cardinale Stadium?
Yeah, yeah, no, it's great. I mean, the atmosphere of the first couple games has been awesome too. It's just super nice venue. Um, when I was still on trial, I played in a scrimmage, and I mean, there was a couple of thousand fans there, even at the scrimmage. It was awesome, like a great experience. Especially, I didn't get to play in like a didn't to play like a actual game in a while. Obviously, the college season wraps up pretty early in the fall, so it was a couple months before I played my last game. But I mean, it felt great to be out there playing in front of fans again. So yeah, I mean, the experience so far at the club, it's been great. Facility's very nice. Everything's going well.
Preseason matches, if I did my research correctly, was Pachuca, San Jose Earthquakes, and Sacramento. Am I missing any
Yeah,
other?
so I played against Pachuca.
All right, so you played against the Liga MX side. Very cool. Obviously,
Yeah.
for those of you who don't know out there, Monterey Bay have a partnership with Pachuca, which is obviously one of the most notable Liga MX sides. Obviously, prior to this season, they had done a little bit of another partnership this time around in Europe, in Germany with Schalke. So it's got some great roots, and that's also throughout the USL Championship. I can give you an example, like Orange County, they have an affiliation with Rangers as well. So it's really cool. So how was it playing against Pachuca? Did you play the full 90?
Played 45, so I
Okay.
just got there. I started training. I got to Monterey, I think on Sunday, and started training on Tuesday, and then that scrimmage was Saturday. So and then I was supposed to find out like if they were gonna offer a contract or not the next day. So I mean, training and stuff went well. I didn't try to put too much pressure on myself going into it, but I played 45 in the game. But it was a cool experience. They didn't bring their starting team, but I think they had probably a lot of younger guys that were signed. They were still a very good side, and the game went really well. We won 3-0, so it went very well. I played in the second half, and a lot of academy kids were playing, like even with us, a lot of the younger guys came on in the second half, so I was playing with a young squad, but they did very well. I felt good out there, and obviously the game went well. Ended up finishing 3-0, so yeah, it was cool.
Yeah, as long as the zero's on the other end of the scoreboard. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? Your end,
definitely,
that
yeah.
is. But dude, that's a lot. The fact that you were still on trial, you didn't obviously get drafted to the MLS. You arrive, you have to get acclimated to a new place, and then also try to impress in a short amount of time out on the pitch. But you've done it. They have signed you, so that's always great. Curious to know, once you were signed, I'm sure the mentality shifted a lot, right? Considering that you're there, it's official. Now you kind of can project a little bit. You can see what your little pats down the road is. It's not so much up in the air. How refreshing was it just to finally sign a professional contract?
Yeah, it was a big kind of sigh of relief after the first like 2 months I had of the year, because obviously you go into somewhere like Nashville and you think things are going very well, and then you hit a little bump and it doesn't end up working out, you know. So there was like a short amount of time where I was a bit, nervous and kind of down on myself. Didn't know if it was going to work out somewhere. Like I mentioned before, it was so late in preseason that it was going to be very tough to get signed for a team, and if I can only get one trial, I have to hopefully make that work. So obviously it ended up working out, and it was a huge sigh of relief. I was obviously very proud of myself, and then since then I've been able to just focus on soccer and trying to get better every single day, So it's been great to kind of have that weight lifted off my shoulders, but it also allows me to, free up and just work on the stuff I need to work on and show up every day and just kind of get after it.
Is there a level of exhaustion, especially at the end too, or is there more motivation or maybe just clarity, like you said, weight off the shoulders? Now I can actually focus on what I'm here to do, which is to play soccer.
Yeah, I mean, I try not to put too much pressure on myself at all when I'm playing ever, Obviously sometimes you're gonna get nervous and anxious about stuff. That's kind of how life goes. But after
Right.
Nashville didn't end up working out, I kind of told myself like whatever happens is gonna happen, It's meant to happen. It's kind of more so in God's hands than mine, but so that's what I try to tell myself going into the trial here. I was like, just go in, enjoy it. You're getting to play soccer here, just enjoy every second, and whatever happens happens, try not to think about the stuff that goes on the outside, because there's a lot of things you can't control. So I just came in here, try to have fun basically playing, and it ended up working out. So I try to keep that mindset all the time, and I think it's very very beneficial.
Power of mindset, power of preseason. Jordan Stewart, your head coach. I was just looking a little bit into other podcasts, listening to the fan-based reporting podcast called the Union Report. In case you don't know it, by Chris Moulton and Andrew Martin. They specialize just for Monterey Bay. And they've been seen already interviewing the likes of Sebastian Legetta. Obviously, I mentioned Jordan Stewart. One word he used to describe preseason was intensity. The approach and everything so far into Monterey Bay and his plans of coaching was preseason intense.
Yeah, well, obviously I was only here for about a week of it, and there was a scrimmage on Saturday, so I didn't get to experience preseason much here, but obviously I experienced it at Nashville, and yeah, it's very intense. I mean, I've been through preseasons in the past, obviously, like for college and stuff, so it wasn't anything that I haven't seen before. I think the biggest part of preseason is just kind of the first week or so. You're always going to be a little bit rusty, even though I was training a lot before to get ready for it, but you can't really get that actual training environment when, like leading up to it. So obviously the first week or so, trying to get used to it, used to playing again, used to being in like a team type practice, and then you just kind of relax and start training. The first week I think can be tough on the body as well. Body's not used to it, but I think it's important for preseason to be intense. You know, it gets you in that top shape that you want to be in going into the season, and then obviously when you have actual matches going on, you can tone things down or obviously start the week more intense and then tone things down going into games. But I think I enjoy preseason. Honestly, it's awesome getting to just completely get after it, you know. But yeah, it's always intense.
Yeah, well, that's great to know. I would say, we were in touch already a little bit back and forth trying to find a schedule for the call. Now that things have been settled, what is your schedule like? Are you guys training twice a day? Are you training once in the morning? What is a typical USL schedule now that we are 3 match days, especially for Monterey Bay side of things, into the season?
Yeah, well, preseason obviously there's a lot of two-a-days and stuff that can be more of a hectic schedule, but when we're in season now, it's just training in the morning. Kind of the first half of the day is when you're doing all your work. To kind of arrive to the facility around I usually get there around 8:15. Just kind of go through my prehab stuff, stretching, all that, kind of just getting ready for training. And then for goalies, we usually go out a little earlier than the team. So usually out in the field by 9 o'clock or so for goalie training. And then sometimes we'll have film or meeting or something that we'll have before team training. So that some days, and then some days we might have that after as well. So it kind of depends on the day. And then 3 days a week we have lift as well. So Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday we're in the gym either before or after training. So kind of training day. I usually arrive by 8 and then out of there maybe by 2 o'clock. So yeah, that's kind of what a normal day looks like.
The days that you're not lifting, are you just kind of doing other stuff, grocery shopping, or are you doing personal rehab stuff? Are you getting your golf game in a little bit? What are you doing?
Yeah,
Saying maybe that
a
Monday,
lot of
Friday,
days.
but you could be traveling as well for the games. But yeah,
Yeah,
go ahead.
yeah. No, a lot of the days I've actually been trying to lift a lot more, like in the gym more. So I think like probably five or six times a week, I'll go to the gym in the afternoon. Especially now that I have my car, it'll be a lot easier for me to do it. I kind of had to Uber and I would walk there, run there some of the time too in the past few weeks. But yeah, no, like my schedule now will basically be training in the morning, get home around 1:30, 2 o'clock, maybe rest for an hour, then go to the gym probably 5 times a week. And then obviously at the gym, I'll either do weights or a lot of stretching, like yoga stuff as well. And then some days, um, I'll probably play some golf too on an off day or something. Maybe this afternoon, since we're off today, I might go get
On a
some swings
Sunday.
in. But yeah, it's kind of what a typical day looks like.
Hey, your body is your asset. I want to talk just last kind of questions about Monterey, Monterey Bay, especially when it comes to the teammates. I'll even share my screen so we can all pull them up. I have the roster right here. Obviously, you got on there, so forth. But I'm curious to know, Ciaran, so far, out of your teammates, who's impressed you the most? Because obviously you had a big signing just happened recently. Sebastian Lletget coming from former LA Galaxy player, MLS All Star, coming into the mix, bringing some veteran experience. People that I've enjoyed watching personally on Monterey Bay has been Adrian Rebellar. When he was playing for Loudon, Wesley Leggett was someone that I really enjoyed watching. Obviously, you guys had just signed also recently Riley Boudoir. But you guys have someone like Nick Ross. I mean, there's just a lot of really exciting talent. It seems that the team now, third week into the season, with a couple more transactions, is coming into fruition. Just coming off fresh recording right now off the point against Sacramento yesterday, where you guys played a really solid second half, I thought. What about you? Who's impressed you so far, would you say? If you could pick one or two
Yeah,
guys,
those names
just
you
like you're
mentioned for
impressed.
sure. But I've been impressed with everyone. You know, it's like coming in, there was some guys injured and stuff. Like you mentioned, the first two games obviously didn't go that well, but I think the squad looked a lot better last night. We had some guys kind of come back from injury lately, so everyone's still trying to get their flow going. But obviously, Sebastian was a very good signing. He played. I think he played 45 minutes last night, but he'll definitely be a big part of our team once he's getting up to 90 minutes. I thought he made a very good impact yesterday, and then even the new signings that we've had have made a big impact. I mean, you think about it, like the subs that came out, like you mentioned the second half yesterday, we had some subs that came on off the bench that made a huge impact. And I think that's so important for, especially in a long season. To be a good team, you need players coming off the bench as well that can help change and impact the game, which obviously you mentioned Wesley. He scored a very big goal coming off the bench last night. I know he obviously wants to be starting. He started the first two games, but I mean, when you're on the bench for a game and you come off and you do that, it's hard not to give you more minutes, you know. So yeah, no, there's been a lot of guys, and I think we're definitely moving in the right direction.
One that you enjoy training with in particular, or that really just kind of there's something unique about them in a way? I mean, because you trained Rutgers Academy, New York Rebels Academy. Now I'm in Nashville, but from Monterey Bay side, and when it's like, yeah, this guy can play. I mean, everyone can play, but from your own eyes, Kieran.
It's a good question. I think I mean it's kind of the obvious answer. Sebastian was very good when he came in. He obviously wasn't training fully at first because he was injured, but I mean you notice it when he subbed on last game against who was it? Who
Oh,
was
El Paso
but not
Locomotive. El Paso.
El Paso, yeah, Locomotive, yeah. But he only played 25 minutes, but like he changed the game, you know? Like there's a players like that with that much experience. It's cool to see sometimes, you know. Obviously, I've gotten to see it in MLS environments, but it's cool to see like, you know, guys that have played at a very, very high level, what they do in training. And I mean, obviously he's a little bit on the older side of his career, but I mean, the way he trains and gets after it every day, it's cool to see for sure.
It's great, and someone you can call your teammate, which is even cooler. Well, then,
Definitely, yeah.
that's it for Monterey Bay side. I want to shift a little bit to talking to you as a goalkeeper. Your time at Rutgers. I I didn't obviously follow too much of your career at Rutgers. I obviously knew of your name when talking to pro varsity head coach Damien O'Keefe. Obviously, talking to Gio. Kieran was mentioned throughout. This guy's going to go pro. This guy's the creme de la creme. Tremendous goalkeeper, insane, working at the Academy Rebels. But I was looking at your footage, and one thing that stood out for me, just from looking at your highlight reels, was the strength of your hands. Honestly, and maybe this is something just coming from my part. I mean, the way you parry shots, I haven't seen really a lot of keepers do it. Like it just stings your palms in a way, and then it just kind of ricochets 30 yards, 20 yards from where you saved it, which makes it hard for the opposition to rebound into the net. Maybe I'm just talking completely out of smoke here, but I mean, I'm curious to know, like, what have you been praised by from goalkeeper coaches? What do you feel, or maybe what have you heard as some of your best assets? Is parrying one of them, or am I just crazy?
No, no, it's definitely important. It's funny that you mentioned that because my friends have kind of joked about in the past. Like one of the commentators that would commentate our games at Rutgers mentioned that a lot. But because I never really thought of that until it was mentioned, and my friends kind of would joke about it. But yeah, no, I mean I think it is because obviously it's very important not to give up rebounds in certain areas and stuff. But yeah, it's kind of something that's just you don't really like intend to work on. Well, obviously you intend to work on in goalie training, but it's something that it kind of just happens, you know. Obviously, whenever you're parrying a save, you always want to put it in a good spot. I think that's very important. But yeah, it's not something that I really like, you know, intend to work on. It kind of just happens, you know.
What about your goalkeeper trainers? Anything like, yeah, Kieran, this is what you're really good at. This is what you should improve on, maybe. But what are they typically? What have kind of been consistent themes that you've heard or have paid attention to?
Yeah, I think my reaction saves are pretty good. And kind of I think positioning is a very important part of that. Kind of I mean, making big saves is all about being in the right spot and making sure you're set. It's kind of hard to like some people might not understand if you don't know a lot about goalkeeping, but kind of just set position and being in the right spot and kind of giving yourself the best chance of making the save and reacting is the most important thing. I mean, there's a million things that I want to work on every day that I focus on to try to get better because obviously I want to get to the very top level that I can. But I think just things like improving flexibility is always very important. It's so important in 1v1s and stuff. And obviously, I mentioned that I'm trying to lift a lot, which is important as well. Just kind of being in very good shape, trying to have a little extra muscle, just kind of appearance wise, it makes you look like a better goalkeeper, and it just helps you kind of stay healthy and be able to stay in the pitch as much as possible. But kind of all those things. I mean, I'm working on everything pretty much every day, just try to improve everything that I can.
It's the name of the game. But so sense of positioning, you mentioned as one of the most important aspects. That makes sense. Thanks for that. I know it's a tough question, especially when you have to answer about yourself. Like, yeah, what am I good at? I just kind of play the game. No, but Kira, from your side, let's talk about Rutgers. I know it's a weird feeling, when college is over, because kind of what's left. I know it's still fresh, the wound, but really now it's only memories. I mean, some of your best friends, former teammates, move on with their lives in a blink of an eye. So, what do you often now, just being freshly separated from obviously shattering records at Rutgers. But kind of what do you often think back of when it comes to your college soccer career already, initial reflection wise?
Yeah, I mean, it's funny, like obviously I'm freshly off of it, but there's some times when you kind of wish you could go back. I mean, obviously I'm ready. I'm obviously very ready for the next step, but looking back on it, obviously I made tons of relationships with teammates like that. Some are my best friends now, so it was definitely the best 4 years of my life. Getting to play in so many big games as well was awesome. Playing in front of a lot of fans. People don't realize it, but some college games get a lot of fans as well, and there's good atmospheres and stuff. So I definitely do reflect on it a lot. Obviously, it's like you mentioned, it's freshly ended, but I mean, I'm sure a lot. I'll look back videos and stuff and miss it at times, but I mean, I wouldn't trade anything that happened back. So yeah, no. I mean, I look back at it all the time. I still obviously have friends that are still in college because I actually did graduate early, but yeah, I'm definitely ready for the next step though.
Last question about college. Tough question, but what was your best college game in your opinion? Forget about the stats. Maybe the stats can reflect it, sure. But in Ciaran Dalton's mind, what was your best college game?
The two that come to mind, obviously, like the obvious one is the one against Maryland that I think. Well, I was marked down as making 10 saves, but I think it was actually like 12 or 13. That was definitely my obvious like
Gypped you?
best game.
They
Just
gypped you
what was that?
in the
They
rankings. They
did,
gypped
yeah,
you.
yeah,
It was
they did,
13. They
yeah.
said that doesn't make any sense. We
I
got to
think
give
I
him.
think I think it was 12, I believe. I think it was 12. It's funny because I obviously I
They got
didn't
to
really
fix
care
that.
too much about stats when I was there, but it was funny after that game they mentioned it. I was like, I felt like I made more saves that game, but whatever. But yeah, that is kind of the obvious one that my old teammates might bring up sometimes. And then also I think my freshman year in the Big Ten tournament semifinal against Ohio State, I thought I made some very big saves that game, which obviously it was a long time ago. You don't really think about it that much, but I thought that was a very big game for me. And especially the funny part was I was pretty sick too. Like there was a virus going around our team, so I was feeling pretty terrible going into that game to be honest. But obviously ended up playing very well, so I was very proud of that.
We don't really get to choose what games stick in our mind per se. That's why it's always interesting to get the perspective from the player. But wow, really cool stuff. And they got to fix that. Should be 12 saves at least. So change on the website, guys. I want to talk about goalkeeping. I don't know if you're watching a lot of soccer when you have your off time from working out, lifting weights, playing with the team, and so forth. But goalkeeping made the headlines for all the wrong reasons this past month. I don't know if you're familiar with it, probably have already seen it on social, but obviously Tottenham's first leg against Atletico Madrid, what happened with the goalkeeper Kinski there. If you haven't seen it, I just kind of I can show a little bit of how things can go wrong in a debut of sorts for Champions League for Kinski. But he made the mistake in the first minute with distribution. Then it was the slip from I think it was Van de Ven at the time. Nothing really you could do about that. But then the third goal is where it stings the most, and this is kind of where headlines then take over. Obviously, the substitution afterwards, but difficult for a goalkeeper. I mean, obviously afterwards, David De Gea came out in support. He had said, and quote from his tweet, "No one who hasn't been a goalkeeper can understand how difficult it is to play in this position. Keep your head up and you will go again." And then literally right before we started talking this call, I was watching the EFL final, Man City against Arsenal. And it kind of keeps going on a little bit this time around. It was with Arteta and their team. It was, take a look at this. I don't know if you've seen this yet, Kieran, but this is
Yeah, I didn't see this one. I just got back from church, so I wasn't able to watch
there it
this.
is. There it is. The first goal came on the right side. Cherokee plays it across. Rizabalaga goes up. Kepa goes up. Doesn't grab it. And all of a sudden, you're down just like that. Goalkeeper. I played center back. It was one of the most. I didn't like the position for the sense of if you make a mistake, you can play great 88 minutes. You make one mistake, that's it. And you cost your team the goal. Talk to me, man. No one who hasn't been a goalkeeper can understand how difficult this play in this position. When you saw these clips, just talk from your perspective as a goalkeeper so far. I mean, obviously it stinks when you see this, but it can happen at any level in the game, especially the highest professional level.
Yeah, I think the thing is like when I see stuff like that, you obviously being a goalkeeper, you feel for the goalkeeper because obviously these things no one wants this to happen. It's I think especially at the top level, it doesn't come from a lack of concentration a lot of the time. It kind of just some things just happen, go wrong at times, you know? Like you mentioned, you can play well for 88 minutes of a game and if you make one mistake like that, it's kind of the only thing looked at, which is the tough part about the position, but I think the most important thing is kind of being able to move on from things quick, and that's a lot easier said than done. Obviously, I've made mistakes in my career. Every goalkeeper has, and it sticks with you for a little bit. You know, you gotta try to do things that help you move on from it. I think if you have a bad game like that, having a good one can, fix it right away, which happens sometimes, like if you have make one mistake in a game and then the next game you play well, then your confidence can be right back, but sometimes it takes longer, I'm sure Kingsley, like you mentioned, I'm sure he'll be all right. He's only 22 years old, obviously on the Tottenham's first team. Very disappointing for something like that to happen, but I mean, I think it's just about moving on and just kind of going to the next game. These things, they're very frustrating, but they happen. And I know that it's a lot easier said than done to kind of move on from tough things, but that's kind of just what you have to do in this position.
Yeah, a situation like that too. Like you mentioned, getting to play the next game and then trying to build your confidence back. Sometimes you might not even get a next game for a month or 2 months or a couple weeks, right? So that's also the kind of the dilemma with the goalkeeper. You have to always be ready, regardless of what happens, because you never know when you're called upon next. And that's you're only as good as your last game, as they say, right? Yeah, and I pull up, and I mean, it's so funny you talk about mistakes, but if you're thinking about mistakes during games, then you're not concentrating on what is important, which is the next shot, next cross, whatever you have to deal with in that game. The mental side of things is massive, probably the biggest, and that comes from your compatriot Shay Given, the former Irish goalkeeper, for a quote there. But it's the case, and I mean, already talking to you for half an hour, mentality is something that comes out as quite ironclad from your end, Kieran. You exuberate a strong mentality, and I'm sure that's certainly what's needed when it comes to playing in between the pipes. I transition more outside soccer as we kind of go into the last part of this interview. You've already been very gracious enough with giving me plenty of your time so far. Um, you want a goalie question or you want a question that's outside of soccer? To start off, you choose.
Yeah, let's do goalie. Stay in the goalie topic.
All right, let's stay in your goalie tack. I like it. So, who is on your Mount Rushmore of keepers of all time? Your favorite four keepers of all time. This is a question that gets a lot in wrestling podcasts. Your Mount Rushmore. It obviously is based upon that monument, Keystone, South Dakota, with Washington, Jefferson, Roosevelt, and Lincoln. Obviously presidents that have meant a lot to the United States history. But what about your history, Ciaran Dalton? Four of your favorite goalkeepers of all time that have inspired you, that you've been just always in awe of watching, appreciate, maybe even know of? Four of your favorite goalkeepers. Who you got?
So I'll clarify, these are the four that I like the best, not who I think are the four best of all time, so I don't get any
That's
backlash.
correct.
But
No, no
growing
backlash.
up,
Correct. Four of your favorite.
David De Gea was always my favorite. I'm a big Manchester United fan. I know you mentioned him
All
earlier,
right.
but growing up,
Yeah.
he was always my favorite keeper. I think probably one of the best shot stoppers of all time. Like in terms of being able to make those like impossible saves. It's like if you look at his highlight reel, it's probably the best you'll ever see. But yeah, he was always my favorite growing up. Another kind of obvious one is Neuer. He kind of I feel like he changed the way people look at goalkeeping in a way. And obviously he's still playing. He's had a very long career. Um, One that may not be mentioned as much is Ter Stegen. I've always liked him a lot. Just
Mark
kind
Ter
of
Stegen.
the technique, yeah, the technique that he has. I mean, it's different. Like when I like to watch like top professional goalies train like training sessions. I just find it fun to watch that for some reason. I guess because I play the position and it's cool to learn and kind of watch it. But like watching him train like as a goalkeeper is unreal. Just his technique and the way he trains and the saves he's able to make. I know he's dealt with a lot of injuries, which has hurt his career a lot. I feel like he could have been even a tier higher in terms of goalkeeping, but yeah, he was someone that I've always just liked watching and just the way he plays. And then the fourth would probably be I'd say Ederson, just in terms of the way he's able to play out. I know that obviously he left Man City, so I don't really get to see him play as much anymore. But I think in terms of playing out and feet, he's probably the best playing goalkeeper of all time. Kind of was a huge difference maker at Man City for a number of years, and he's a good shot stopper as well. But it's not like he's not unreal at that. But I think just being able to be so good at playing out from the back kind of put him at that top tier of goalkeeping for years and being able to be such a good goalkeeper at Man City. So I loved watching him play when he was at City, just the confidence he had in playing out and the kind of the balls he was able to play was unreal to watch. So yeah, those are my probably my favorite four to
Nice.
watch.
Ciaran Dalton's Mount Rushmore, David De Gea, Manuel Neuer, Mark Ter Stegen, and Ederson as well. For wow, okay, very. I would have never guessed that, but I also it was one of my other questions. Manchester United or Liverpool. It seems like those are the only two options when it comes to supporting if you're Irish. In regards to teams you
Definitely,
could choose, even though I know a little bit obviously from the Chelsea side, a little bit from the Arsenal side, but it's always those two, and for all the right reasons for the amount of Irish legends that have played for both clubs. If I had to give you my Mount Rushmore of keepers, you didn't mention any Americans, which is quite interesting. So no Americans on Ciaran Dalton's list. That's totally okay. No one's going to come after you, I promise. And if they do, then
yeah.
I'll try to stop them, David De Gea style. But so I put Tim Howard on my list. Tim Howard is one of the guys. Obviously, we both grew up with him a little bit, probably towards your tail end. I've seen the 2014 World Cup, maybe a little bit 2010 World Cup. But I also put Matt Turner on my Mount Rushmore. Big fan of Matt Turner. Really like what he has done, and it was great watching him in the last World Cup. I knew someone who was playing for the Revolution, who played with Giovanni for a while back. His name's on a book, so he plays with the Polish national team. So I got to see Matt Turner play live at Rebel Arena. I mean, he made some of the most insane saves. Talk about reflexes. That's a goalkeeper. That's on the list. So those are my two American goalkeepers. The other two that made it were Italian goalkeepers, Gianluigi Buffon, who I'm sure you know. Kieran, do you know the 1982 goalkeeper Dino Zoff? Zoff for
I
Italy.
don't know.
All right. All right. So next time you're on YouTube, maybe you take a look at some vintage
Yeah.
goalkeeping highlights. But he's on the list. He was the inspiration for Buffon. So sometimes you got to go back in time and see who were even the previous ones. I do also have Jan Sommer on my short list, the Swiss
It's a
goalkeeper.
good
I'm
one.
living in Switzerland. He's great. Wojciech Szczesny for Poland for Juventus. I'm a Juventus fan, so he's on the list. And then I also had Luis Robles. Remember Robles for Red Bulls? Do you remember him?
Yeah, yeah. Well, he was a starter when I was obviously very young at Red Bulls. Yeah, I liked him a lot. He was very good for a number of years too. I think one
Amazing. He was
that you
awesome.
mentioned that caught my attention is Jan Sommer. I've liked him a lot for years too. He kind of almost made my Mount Rushmore favorite keepers because
Hey,
um,
that's great.
I've kind of watched a lot of his footage. Just like I like watching guys like that their technique is so good and the way they're able to make saves because like I mentioned earlier, set position, him like he's always in such a good spot that allows him to make unreal saves. I know like normal like regular people that aren't goalkeepers watching soccer wouldn't really notice. They just notice the actual saves they make, but his positioning on a lot of the saves he makes and he's kind of somewhat on the shorter side. He's probably only 6 foot, 6'1", and he makes just unreal saves. So big fan of him as well.
Can we notice a bit more about positioning to the naked eye? Do you have any tips?
What can you notice?
Yeah, like in terms of when if we were trying the average American soccer viewer, the average soccer viewer, when looking at a goalkeeper, what's a tip when it comes to positioning? As in, we're analyzing a game, we're looking at the game from the broadcast view, from the stands. What's one thing we could be looking at to gauge a little bit of the keeper's positioning? Distance to the
I
post, for
think
instance. Is it
think
something like
it's
that
it's
nature?
it's more so I think it's more so kind of your vertical distance, like distance off the line on certain in certain situations, you know? And also like goalkeeper coaches mention sometimes the triangle. This is just from shots from distance or whatever, where you're kind of just in a normal spot, maybe 2 or 3 yards off the line. You kind of there's a triangle between the post, the middle of the goal, and the ball. So you want to be in the best position possible in the goal to save that shot from distance. But I mentioned like vertical, basically like when to close down space or when to just kind of hold your ground on where you are in the goal. Different 1v1 situations. It's hard to say like exactly where, but like whether you should close space and just fully fly out and spread and jump on the ball to try to block a shot or kind of hold your position and set and react to certain shots. It depends on the situation. So it is. I know that probably doesn't really make sense to a lot of people that listen to that, but it's so tough. Like different situations, like that's what we go through in a lot of goalkeeper sessions, just getting used to different situations. Whether like if you can't get close enough to the ball to, like I mentioned, spread and like make a 1v1 save like within 2 or 3 yards, then you should kind of hold your spot where you are, or maybe only close 2 or 3 yards to kind of close down the angle of the goal. So there's a lot of stuff that sounds confusing that goes into it, but that's the kind of things that I look at when I'm watching goalkeepers play.
Fascinating, fascinating. I'll try to keep those things in mind, especially when they hold their set position, when they come out, what prompts them to come out, things of that nature, uh, especially when analyzing goalkeepers in my future. So thanks for that, Kieran. No, and you're the expert, so that's why I ask you. One question outside of soccer, and then we'll wrap it up with a final question about soccer. But besides strapping on the gloves, getting in between the pipes, what is Kieran up to outside of the pitch? I think I know the answer already because you hit the links a lot. Um, but how's your golf game? Pretty good.
Yeah, yeah. I think it's decent. I think it's fair to say I'm better than like the average golfer. I don't think I'm anywhere like insane at it, but it's one of my favorite things to do. Especially um, the past couple years. My dad, he got me into it. I played a bit when I was younger. I only play once or twice a year. I wasn't a big fan. I preferred to be jumping around the goal or playing Gaelic football or basketball or something. But I wish I did start playing earlier more. But around COVID, I started playing a lot, and then I joined Rockland Country Club back home because my dad was a member there, so he was able to join me up with him. So then I started playing a lot and kind of fell in love with golf as well. So kind of when
Great.
I have some free time, I play a lot. I like to even practice a little bit. Just it gets your mind off soccer and anything else. It's hard to explain, but golf it's just yourself. It's quiet out there. It's nice. You can enjoy time with your friends. It kind of just gets my mind off everything, and it's not too physically taxing on the body where it kind of affects me at all. So yeah, it's probably definitely my favorite thing to do outside of soccer.
Shout out to Mr. Dalton for that. Shout out to your dad. for getting you into it. It's just had you gotten into it sooner, no. But you're strong mentally wise, so I'm sure that helps. And hopefully you can get to hitting the links even with some of your teammates if they're into golfing over there. And you're in California, you're in Monterey, so I'm sure it's really nice and always good golf weather over there compared to us on the East Coast. Kieran, my last question for you, man. Um, on the path to professional stardom, Kieran, what is what we like to call the BHAG, the big, hairy, audacious goal? What is something ideal that you're aiming for in your career as you just have signed recently your professional contract, the first one? Is it to play in a major professional tournament, such as maybe Champions League, such as the World Cup, such as other things like that? Is it to represent Ireland, since you maybe hold dual citizenship and play nationally over there, or even the U.S.? Is it to play in the Premier League? Is it to play in England? Maybe in the Championship over there, second division is totally cool too. Is it to manage something like over 100 appearances in the MLS? What is something when you're thinking like, okay, what is my big, hairy, audacious goal, and what is my career? The start of it, at least. What do you think?
It's a very good question. I like to set goals, so it's something that my dad kind of got me into as well. A couple years ago, I made a vision board for my career, um, like kind of like a broader vision board, not like specific little goals, but kind of certain things I wanted to accomplish by a certain age. I won't get into all the specifics of it because I don't want to, put that out there. I just kind of want to have that for myself, but. I was able to accomplish two of the goals already, which I was very proud of. The first one was to be starting goalkeeper at a Division I college, and I was obviously able to do that. And then the second one was to sign a pro contract by age 22, which I did, which I was very proud of. But I mean, the end goal for me. I like to aim very high. I know some people might look at it and say I'm being unrealistic, but I want to be the best goalkeeper in the world and play at the highest level that I can possibly play at, whether it's Premier League or wherever in the world. My goal is to if you aim to be the best goalkeeper in the world, you kind of you have to do all the things that it takes to get to that next level. I know I'm very, very far from it now, but each
Right.
day it's I'm trying to just have my mindset to build towards that, Obviously I don't go around saying that to anyone, but if you look at yourself as the best goalkeeper in the world, you'll make yourself do the things that it takes to get there. So my end goal is to play wherever it is in the Premier League, national team. I want to obviously do all that, but my mindset is that if I say I want to be the best goalkeeper in the world, there's so many things that I have to accomplish to do that, which obviously you need big goals and aspirations. So that's kind of what I want to aim for my career.
It's a great answer, Kieran. And may I say this was a great conversation. Really appreciate you coming out. Where can we find you on socials? I believe you're just on Instagram at Ciaran underscore Dalton, Dalton. So make sure after listening to this, you go over there and follow Ciaran. Even if you're a Monterey Bay fan, or maybe not a Monterey Bay fan, still you want to keep him on your radar as he starts his career in the USL Championship. Anything else from your end, Ciaran?
Just want to thank you very much for having me on. I really, really enjoyed this conversation. Really appreciate it.